Deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown. After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is the
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown. After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is the
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown. After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is the
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown. After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession.
Quarterback's arm is going forward. It is the
Oh, man, on a call that is.
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.
deciding who wins the game on this call.
Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown. After review, it has been determined.
Welcome to another bad call where the refs aren't the only ones who get it wrong. I'm here, it's Justin, JD over there. We are live for another Football Friday stream. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. Scrambling. The missus is gone for the evening. So fun household. Two boys under the age of 5 and a puppy in heat make for a very fun evening trying to get things done. How about you?
Well, no, I'm not quite up to that task, but I do have.
That should tell you.
Well, here I'll let you know how I am. Yeah, it's coffee right now.
Yeah, right now.
It's been one of those weeks. Long work's been busy. It's a busy time. But the end is in sight for our season, so I'm looking forward to that and trying not to be Mr. Grinch and try to get the holiday spirit with the kids. We got our tree last week.
Very nice.
Got that up and everything. Everybody's decorated, and I know the kids are excited. So try to let that. Don't want to ruin that for them, even though sometimes I could be a little bit of a dick.
sometimes.
Well, not as much as you, but
Just because I'm better at everything than you.
you're certainly better at that.
I found something I was good at and I stuck with it. What do you want
I'm
from
just
me?
more subtle about it.
Yeah. You're a little slower in the wit department is what you mean by that. But anyway,
not really. That's not at all what I meant.
Well, it may not be what you meant, but
Good try. Good try, buddy. So
anyway,
how'd you do last week?
Not good. Not good. I had one decent lineup. Trying to pull that back up here right now. But I had so much stock in the Raiders-Falcons game. I had so many shares across that. And that one tanked. I mean, that game was just abysmal. I did have one lineup in the play action that went for 176.48. I had a Mahomes Hill stack there, which was 95 of those points. The thing that killed me in that game were Kareem Hunt. They didn't really do what I thought they were going to do there either. And Antonio Brown. I really expected Tom to look his way, especially in a game where they were going to be behind, and they just really didn't get anything going. So that was a little disappointing. Other than that, I mean, I took your Wayne Gallman play. I played Nyheim Hines. Curtis Samuel gave me 12 points. Hunter Henry gave me 13. And I had a Giants defense that gave me 9 points. So the real kicker on that one was Antonio Brown and Kareem Hunt. Really should have doubled their output, and I think I would have been better off. But aside from that, I mean, I had one lineup that didn't score 80 points because it was heavy in the Raider side, and well, they sucked. So
yeah, that's for sure. Well, I actually I got there in cash this week. It's been a little bit of a struggle for me to do that, despite Dalvin Cook disappointing. But I brought it in. I settled, and Keenan Allen. I told you I was going to lock him in, and because of the previous week and regretting that, and he came in cold too. But overall, with Fitzpatrick, Cook, Nyheim Hines, Allen, Justin Jefferson, Gabriel Davis was my cheap play that came through, and then Kelsey and Hill. It's not the greatest, but it got there in cash, so that's all that matters.
I mean, yep.
It was rough. The chalk did not come through, so if most people play chalk, so it just depends on who you paired them with. So that's why we play the game, and keep it going for this week. Hopefully, I got my butt whooped in season long. Probably put the last couple of shovels on those two teams.
Dump the dirt
for the season, but
yeah.
So
I'm ready to move on after last week. I'll tell you, I'm ready.
Yeah, cool. Well, I did start to try to piece together some a cash lineup here. I'll tell you, it feels a little bit tricky, but let's give it a go. I'm not fully settled in on this, but I'm gonna start her off with probably somebody that's gonna make you want to Ralph a little bit, but I got David Montgomery in my cash lineup here, buddy. 5,500. We get the Bears at home against Detroit Lions. Lions are last in defense against running backs, and Montgomery's getting all the work. So he's a good
33.8 points, drafting points per game. to the running back position right now.
He's getting, he broke a nice long run against the Packers on Sunday night. He had a couple other decent runs, and he usually gets about 4 to 5 targets. And I actually like him better with Trubisky at quarterback. So I think it just opens up just a tad bit more for him. So I'm not afraid at 5,500. Not afraid to put him in there for cash.
Okay.
The next guy I put in is Austin Eckler at 7,100. We saw him come back last week. They said he was going to get a partial role, or they were going to ease him back in, and he saw 30 opportunities. He got all kinds of receptions, and he looked like the Austin Eckler that we saw last year. I think it actually benefits him quite a bit that the difference now he's playing with Herbert rather than starting the season off with Tyrod. So I think we're in for good. If you're going to get that many opportunities, it's kind of at 7,100. It's kind of hard. The Patriots as a defense against the run give up a 70% success rate on passes that are thrown behind the line of scrimmage. The type of screenplays that Eckler does so well on. Had 16 targets last week. So he doesn't even need to get that many targets or opportunities for this.
Yeah. I wouldn't count on that. I wouldn't count on that many. They were
you're not
behind in that game, but
you're not going to count on it. But
no,
you don't need that many for him to pay off.
Yes, I'm not telling you. I'm sharing out. Remember, it's not just you and me talking. So put your panties back on there, brother. I'm just saying for anybody that may be watching you drabble on that they're not going to count on 16 targets.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so here's where we've got a decision to make. I've got those two guys in there, and then it comes down to me trying to decide which big dog I want to put in my lineup. And so it's hard, Dalvin Cook disappointed last week. They've got a great matchup this week against Jacksonville, but the train is pulled into the station here for it's December, and that means it's Derrick Henry time. So right now I've got Derrick Henry in 9,200. He just keeps getting stronger as the season goes. I'm not too afraid of the matchup against Cleveland. It's a home game for them. The what are we looking at here for the Titans have an implied team total of 29.5. And we know how much Derrick Henry is for that offense. So I guess you don't need a whole lot of explaining, man. The guy is just a monster in December. So that's where I'm going. And the reason I went that way is because I could go to quarterback and get a little bit of exposure to that Minnesota offense in the home game against Jacksonville with Kirk Cousins at 6,400. Minnesota, I believe, has the highest implied team total on the slate at the moment at 30.75. I don't think that Cook is going to get all of that. And even if he does get a good chunk of that, he is, he's almost just as likely to get it off of a dump off pass or a wheel route.
Yeah. Jacksonville's giving up the third most DraftKings points per game to quarterback as well.
Right. So Then we got to try to piece together what we're going to do at receiver. Originally, I had tried to jam both Cook and Henry into the lineup, and I just couldn't get anywhere that I was comfortable at wide receiver.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go start off the week with Brandon Cooks. He's already had decent rapport with Deshaun Watson, and now they got no Will Fuller, they've got no Kenny Stills, they've got no drawing a blank. The other starting wide receiver,
Randall Cobb.
Randall Cobb. There you go. No Randall Cobb. The ball, between.
I can't believe you just used Randall Cobb as a talking point.
No. I'm just saying he was one of the receivers who was getting target share.
I know.
So
I know. It just how long has it been since Randall Cobb's been relevant? It's just.
I mean, he scored a few touchdowns this year. So all of this is just to show how much opportunity is available in Houston. They're probably going to have to throw a lot. They're probably going to be playing from behind, even though it's a tough Indianapolis team. I think the volume is going to be there at 5,600 for Brandon Cooks to be viable here for cash. And so then the next receiver spot that I'm going to fill is going to go with Robert Woods at 5,900. They are playing in a game that has what's our total here? It's not super high. It's 48, but the Rams have an implied team total of 25.5, which is decent. Robert Woods is seeing really good volume, and in the last 2 weeks combined, he's had 27 targets. You would think in this divisional matchup with the Cardinals, where these teams are fighting for playoff position, that the Rams would have to throw at some, and we know Woods is just a target monster. So sub 6,000, another guy who's going to see a ton of volume.
Yeah, he's a decent mid floor guy with a pretty high upside.
Right. So the next spot, I'll go ahead and throw my tight end here, Jordan Akins at 2,900. For much of the reason I got Brandon Cooks in there. The tight end position has just been the black hole of DFS or all of fantasy this year. So it's hard to pay up and feel confident in anybody other than Travis Kelce. So I'm looking to save money at the tight end position. I think that's going to be my strategy going forward in cash. And all of those opportunities have opened up. Last week he had 2 opportunities in the end zone. I expect his target share to go up. Not like a huge expectation there, but I think it's definitely worth a go.
Interesting.
So then my other wide receiver spot here, I'm gonna go back to the well with Denzel Mims. 4,100. He's come, he had to save money to get the big price guys at the running back position. Mims has 3 straight games of 8 targets. He's really starting to come into his own as as a another not in the talks of rookie of the year, but he's certainly having starting to establish himself as a part of that team. It's the Jets. You're not like super blown away, but they're playing against the Raiders, who have some issues against the slot, I believe. I think their slot corner's out this week. So
they're about middle of the pack as far as giving up fantasy points per game to the position too. So
right
now, take into account what happened last week too.
Right. I mean,
yeah. Anyway,
but so then that just leaves me with defense. I've got 3,300 to spend. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with the Bears right now at 3,100 at home against a Detroit team that just hasn't been that great, really. I don't know. I don't really have a. I don't have much to say about it. It's just what I slotted in there right now. I don't like the lower price. So here's if I save money at defense here, there's not really a spot where I can come up with any of these other positions to a place that I like all that much.
Okay, so this one's interesting to me because there's a lot of things in play with the Bears selection. Number one, they just got called out. I mean, they got flat out embarrassed last week, and then they got called out. So I want to see how they're going to respond to both of those things. And I don't think they got called out in like a really bad negative way. Like I don't feel like it was anything that hadn't been said to them, like they just went and Nagy had a press conference and never said anything to the defense. I'm pretty sure he told the defense, like, what the hell was that? Pagano probably was like, what were you doing? That was embarrassing. You're going up against a Detroit team that has no Kenny Galladay, likely no DeAndre Swift, if they haven't already fully ruled him out. But you also are going up against a team that just fired their head coach. And we've seen in the past what happens with some of these teams when they're with their interim. I mean, look at the Falcons. Raheem Morris, he's making a push to see if he can actually just be the coach of the Falcons next year. That one's interesting to me.
Well, I guess that the Detroit at this point is going to have an unsaid mandate to continue to tank a little bit to go for draft position, but
I think at 3,300 I'd be tempted. I know the Seahawks defense has not been they've gotten a bad rap for a good portion of it because they were without Jamal Adams for a while, but once Adams came back, they've really stepped it up, and now they're going up against a Giants team that looks like they'll be playing with Colt McCoy at their quarterback position.
Yeah, I mean that's
no running back. Your receivers are kind of like, I don't know. I'd be tempted to. Jamal Adams is back. Carlos Dunlap has helped with that pass rush. I think I might, if I've got the 3,300, I might play the Seahawks there. I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, the Bears defense correlates well with the David Montgomery play.
Yeah.
So,
no,
I'm never gonna. I don't want to say I'm never, but it's hard to take a conviction on a defense, really. So.
Yeah, no, totally. I'm just mentioning that with that Bears Detroit game, there's a lot of narrative, I guess, with that, like a lot of different narratives you can put into that game. So it'll be really interesting just from a fan perspective, a fan of football. I mean, obviously a Bears fan, but a fan of football to see how those two things play out. But I think just from a number side, I think I might go with the Seahawks. There's too much unknown with the Bears Detroit game for me that Seahawks against a backup QB, a career backup QB with, their starting running back gone too. I don't know. So, I mean, maybe that's just something for us to watch. Bears defense versus Seahawks defense, just as a talking point.
Sure.
I'm actually just going to write that down. Bears Seahawks defense. All right. You good?
That's where I'm at right now. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Sure.
As we've always said, especially this year, so much can change between now and kickoff. Who knows? A game may be pushed to Wednesday again. We may get more god awful football on a Wednesday.
Well, hey, let me ask you this: what do you think about the Houston guys? There,
I can kind of understand one of them, and like I'm not like saying specifically one of them. I'm saying one of the two. I have a hard time doing like two of them. One, because of the matchup. The matchup is tough. I mean, take aside the divisional thing, the Colts defense is pretty good. And then you add in the fact that it's a divisional game. Those typically are more to your lower side. Indianapolis against the tight end position is really tough. Really tough. I think they're giving up like the third most DraftKings points per game. I agree that Akins is going to get an uptick in targets. I don't know. This is almost one of those things where if you want that many shares of Houston, I'd almost be doing the route you took with Cousins. I'd almost be more inclined to go with like a Deshaun Watson and then try to play a Vikings receiver or something instead. But
I think that guy. I mean, no, I mean, yeah. If I'm building a GPP lineup, probably, but I think that I'm a little more concerned about Watson overall than I am at a couple of his, at a couple of pass catchers where it's going to be really, really narrow target share. And like in Akins, it's not going to take a whole lot to get a return on the investment.
Oh yeah, I mean at that price point, even let's say he gets 4 total targets and 2 of them are red zone targets. If you can catch one of those for a touchdown, you've already hit your 3x almost. So, I mean, yeah, you're good there.
And I probably could. I think I could probably safely peg him for 6 to 8 targets this week.
I mean,
so
let's look in the. You've got 200 left, so you've got 5,800. Let's look in that range for a receiver. Yeah, I mean, there's not a ton there.
Actually, Cooks was the first wide receiver I put in to start the week. Really, when I started looking, he's just gonna his volume has to be huge.
You would hope.
I mean, Kiki is not good.
So yeah, listen, I have a GPP with QT in there because it's been shown in the past that with Fuller out, the very next week is when QT goes off. The next week after that, no, but I just don't see it in this game. I don't know. I think if it was any other opponent, I'd probably consider it. Like I'd be totally okay with that.
I think I worry more about teams the running game against Indianapolis than I do against the passing game.
Yeah, I mean,
I know their overall defense is good, but I mean it's not like they're the 85 Bears.
Oh no, I mean no team really is. I mean they're sixth against the receiver and third against tight end. So definitely tough there. Just it's interesting. Like I said, there's a lot of things that you have in your favor of. Yeah, they just lost Will Fuller. So there's extra targets to go around. So you would expect that to go to Cooks and Akins, but again, divisional matchup just always makes me leery. So But then again, I've got a terrible track record, so I'd be ignoring most of what I say anyway.
I usually do.
Yeah, I know. All right.
You just solidified it for me. Thank you.
Oh, good. At least one of us will win something. All right. Let me pull up my stuff here. All right. So this GPP lineup is called I don't feel comfortable with anybody I put in this lineup. And we're going to start and prove that wholeheartedly with a Mitchell Trubisky in my quarterback position. We all know how I feel about this guy. However, his last 4 games against Detroit, he has scored 3 touchdowns in each of his games. And the Lions are giving up 21.7 DraftKings points per game to the quarterback position. At 5,400, I will take that upside. If he goes for 240 and 3 touchdowns, I'm feeling pretty good.
What did I message you the other day?
Oh, you did, and I already had this in there, but I don't like it. Like I said, this is I'm not comfortable with anybody that I have in this lineup right now. They all make me go, "Are you sure you want to put money on this?"
By the way, just for the massive 4 watchers we have, the thing I messaged JD was Mitchell Trubisky Millionaire Maker Week.
Yeah.
That was the first opportunity I took to look at salaries and matchups on draft.
Yeah, so at 5,400, the upside is there. And he's got a track record against this particular team.
Exactly.
Which is why I wasn't surprised when week 1 they said, "Okay, you're the starter. You're going against the Lions." Okay, it makes sense. I'm wearing my Anthony Miller jersey. However, he is not in this lineup. Who is in this lineup is the other side of that matchup we were just talking about. Jonathan Taylor. So Houston's given up 32.3 points per game to the running back position. They just lost Will Fuller. They also lost one of their corners. My suspicion is that Houston's going to be behind in this game, but Indy's just going to keep running the ball to try to keep Watson off the field. Because if you want to beat Houston, that's the number one way to do it. That team flows through Watson. Taylor had a good game last week. I think that's maybe a second or third game, good game all year. So I'm not super thrilled about it, but at 5,700, again, his upside to me is pretty good. And then another guy that I'm just not super convicted on, Devontae Booker. So they just announced Josh Jacobs is out, and Booker has proven that he can pick up the duties when needed. The Jets are a little bit tougher against the run, but they give up 25.9 points a game to the running back position. And outside of Booker, you have Jalen Richard, who's also a little banged up, and I think Theo Riddick maybe. I don't even know who their 4th is at that point. So I think Booker will see most of the opportunities there, and in a game where, I mean, they just got beat up last week, so I expect them to come out and do a little bit more this week. All right, so you went with Kirk Cousins to get some exposure, and I'm going with Justin Jefferson this week. So Jacksonville's getting up 42 points a game to the receiver position. Jefferson in his last 3 games is 21.5, 17.6, and 26. So we'll call it a 17-point floor. For a 6,900 guy, I'm okay with that. And
I think you could stack a lot of people in that game, or and that's
yeah. And I mean, I could easily put Thielen in there. I just went with a little bit lower price guy just because of the way the lineup broke down. Allen Robinson. So, his last 3 games against Detroit, he's had 6, 8, and 5 receptions for 74 plus yards. At a floor there of 12.4, you're getting basically 2x, just under. we all know that when Trubisky's in the game, the ball's going to Robinson first, second, and sometimes third. So if this is going to be a game where Trubisky goes off, I suspect Robinson will have a piece of it. Like I said, I do have some builds with Miller in it because he tends to have his good games against Detroit as well. Let's see.
I'd love to see Darnell Mooney go off. You know, he's got the big play, but I have a feeling that they're going to they're not going to call any big shots down the field after he made the bad read last week. So
also, who's better at your deep ball? I mean, that's.
Well, I think Mooney is your better deep ball guy.
Oh, I meant the throwing of that deep ball.
Oh, well, neither of them. Neither of them.
So Corey Davis in at my third wide receiver spot. He's only played 2 games this year where he's had less than 5 receptions, and Cleveland gives up a lot of points to the receiver position per game. So Corey Davis at 5,100. I like him in that spot. Also possible that you could go with Crowder or Lazard there. I originally had Pittman in at that spot, but ultimately decided that I don't like having receiver running back in, especially in a game where I think that they're going to be running the ball quite a bit. So for my tight end position, so Bears defense really good, except against tight ends. They give up the 3rd most points against tight end, and no Kenny Galladay, no DeAndre Swift. I think Hawkinson is due up for a good game. He's also only had 1 game in the last 5 games with less than 4 receptions. So the last game against the Bears this year, he went off for 16 points. So if you can get 10 points out of him, you're at 2x. I hate doing this because I hate rooting for players to go against the Bears. But
if you're building a tournament lineup,
DFS first.
you're gonna need the other team to score some points if you want your guys 100%. To keep going off. So
and it's just my stack. I've got quarterback, receiver, and then I come back with another player from the other team. So I too had Austin Eckler in this. As you mentioned. Where New England sits, they're giving up an average of 123 yards and a touchdown to the running back position per game. Eckler just went for 23.9, and what like you said, was supposed to be a kind of ease him back in, partial role. Now game script dictated a lot of that. He's their better catching back. He's their better back, period. But I think he's set up for a pretty decent game.
They don't like Kelly, and Tremaine Pope is a practice squad guy, and Justin Jackson's on IR. So
that left me with 2,600 to put into my defensive spot, and so I went with another little stack here and went with the Chargers. Again, not super convicted on it. The thing is the Patriots offense is not that good. The one concern I have here is that if there's a weakness really to attack this Chargers defense, it's at the rushing the ball. And that is something the Patriots have been doing pretty good with Damian Harris, and you always have to worry about Cam. But I think Cam's a little banged up, and like I said, I just like the correlation here with Eckler and the Chargers. So.
I would say the only reason I don't like playing defense against the Patriots is because they are so run heavy, and so it limits the total number of plays in the game because the clock keeps moving, and it also is less opportunities because when you're getting points from a defense, the opportunities come most 90% of the time off of passing plays, either in the form of sacks or interceptions.
Okay, so here I'll do this for you. I'm going to go down the line here of the few remaining teams that are below that 2,600 threshold because I've capped out my.
I'm just
Are
telling
you ready?
why I don't like to play defenses against the Patriots. That's
Yeah, because that list is Jaguars, Jets, Giants, Eagles, Bengals, Patriots, Falcons, Browns.
Well, I mean, honestly, except for the fact that you made a Trubisky stack, I would put the Lions in there. But
yeah, that would be a little counterproductive, a little bit.
In this lineup for sure. But
In this lineup, yes. Again, so
I'll be
usually
playing the Lions, and so because I will play some Mitch and GPP. Some of my other lineups, I'll probably have the Lions defense.
yeah, how can you not? I mean, number 10 likes to give the ball away. What did he do 3 times in the first half of last week? Or yeah, right? 3 times in the first half? Or was it twice in the first half and once in the second?
It was. I think it was. Well, it doesn't matter. I think it was one in the first half. But
I thought he had a fumble and an interception in the first half, but the fumble could have been in the second half. I don't remember. That game was really hard to watch, so I barely did.
it was close to halftime, and then it got real out of hand. It was never close.
Anyway, so yeah, I can't even see your face right now, based on the way I had my monitor set up. Thankfully,
that was just bad.
So yeah, I took a little bit of different approach with this lineup. Normally coming into this, I have a couple players at least where I'm like, look, these are guys that are gonna be in my lineup across multiple builds, and it's not worked out super well. So I'm going a little riskier, if you will, and I have a lot of non-conviction plays in this one. We're gonna see how it pans out.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's just a couple other guys that I want to talk about.
Okay.
The first guy that I like that I gotta say I haven't played this guy nearly enough this year, and it's probably cost me money. And that's James Robinson. He's in that matchup with the Vikings, and the Vikings are not good on defense. Really, they're probably middle of the road against the run. But look what Robinson did last week in a tougher matchup against the Browns. You know, he put up almost 30. So at 7,300, he's pretty much the only guy worth anything on Jacksonville. And they even in most of the game scripts that they get in, they still use him a lot. So definitely a guy that I'm going to try to force myself to put in some lineups. So,
yeah, four of the last 5 games, he's had 20 plus rush attempts.
Yeah.
So.
I kind of think that Zach Ertz is coming back, and I don't know. Maybe I just feel like he owes me from my season long.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that feel that way.
So I'm feeling like maybe he's he could be a little bit of a definitely low owned play that I like. Miles Sanders in that game also playing against Green Bay, who hasn't been too stout against the run. I think Philadelphia, I don't know, when are they going to make the change to go to Hurts, because Wentz has not been good.
This will be an interesting one, because the other team that gives up the same average points per game to the tight end position as the Colts, with you having Akins in, is the Packers. But this is a team that basically throws only to their tight ends, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah. The other guy, receiver, I like if he fits in the lineups is Devontae Parker. Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback makes Devontae Parker all that more intriguing. Tua really limited the offense, and Cincinnati's been playing in some high scoring games, so like Devontae Parker.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when you when you look at it. When did they make the switch? Like week 6?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, after week 6.
Yeah, after
because Tua's first game was against the Rams. 1 reception, 6 receptions, 2 receptions. All of those were, let's see, he had 7 points, 12 points, 5 points. And then the week 11 game when Fitzpatrick comes back, 6 receptions, but he goes for 18 points. Last week he goes for 8 receptions, 119 yards. He goes for 19 points. So they're definitely linked together.
Yeah. Dalvin Cook, his ownership might be down a little bit this week because of the stinker he put up last week, and again he's got a great matchup in a high price, so just gets tricky.
That brings up something. I've got one guy I want to bring up to you.
So shoot,
because he's got one of the lower prices that he's probably ever had or ever going to have. Are you touching Alvin Kamara at all this week? Because he was originally where I have Eckler. He was originally in my Eckler slot.
Three targets.
Yeah, I understand that.
In the last 2 weeks with Taysom Hill.
So here's the thing. So he was supposedly hurt last week. That's what I'm hearing. So it was, a lot of Latavius Murray, who I'm kicking myself for not having in my garbage dynasty lineup. But Kamara's value has gone just basically through the floor with Taysom Hill at quarterback, who I also considered in this GPP lineup. But
I had Taysom Hill in my first cash lineup that I built.
He will be in a lineup for sure for me. But anyway, so I started looking at it. I was like, okay, Kamara's price at 7,000. Nobody's going to want to play him because his value's just gone through the floor. And I was like, but maybe that's the reason you should play him. And then I started looking at it, and for as bad as the Falcons have been, they're actually one of the better teams as far as giving up the fewest fantasy points to running back position.
It's weird because the last 3 years previously, the Falcons is the team that you wanted to target with the pass catching running backs.
Yeah, but he's not a pass catching running back anymore because Taysom Hill doesn't pass.
Oh, man.
I just think it's one of those plays where I feel like I have to have at least one GPP lineup with him in it. Because
you know what,
7,000 and nobody's gonna play him. Somebody's gonna
have
play him.
Depressed ownership. It's the kind of play that you need to make in GPPs. You get guys that have the ability to hit home runs at depressed ownership and depressed pricing, which means you could put him in lineups with other firepower. I definitely would. I would not. I'm not going to say I would be huge on him this week, but I would use him in some GPPs.
Yeah. The other guy that I'm looking at this week too that has that burned some people a little bit, Chris Carson. In this matchup, second full week back, I think he's set for a decent game this week. And at 6,300, it's a decent floor. So just another guy to throw out there.
Another guy that has been holding my season long team down, but I think for whatever reason, Seattle went away from their full let Russ cook mentality that they started the season off. They started doing slowing it down a little bit, running. I think partially because Seattle was scoring so fast and so often, and it was keeping the defense on the field a lot. So that might be a reason they've.
I mean, he also started throwing multiple interceptions a game for a little bit there too, which
true story,
which hurt. And I mean, really, this is the time of year where you want your running game to get going anyway. So
yeah, and I'll say one other guy. I mean, well, two other guys. Can I say four other guys? No, two guys, real quick.
Wait, you want to talk more?
That matchup. Seattle's defense has not been great against the run. I think 4-for-4 has them as the 25th rated against the run, whatever their metric is. And then another guy on the opposite side of, we're going to see probably decent ownership on Derrick Henry because everybody wants to play him. So Nick Chubb on the other side because Tennessee's just behind Seattle at 26 against run in the 4-for-4 matchup metric.
Yeah, the Wayne Gallman one's interesting to me just because they really don't have anything else, and like I said, they're playing a backup QB. Seattle's really hit or miss depending on which team they're playing as far as what they give up from a rush standpoint. Again, having Dunlap and Adams now will make a difference. And if I'm Seattle, I'm going into that game saying, McCoy, you have to beat us. I'm stacking that box. So,
GPP play I was talking about
100%. And I mean, just something to keep in mind though too is there's a good chance that game is one of those games where the Giants are just scrambling to stay alive in that game, which usually could mean more receiving options for the backs. Gallman gets a little of those, but that's a dead on loose.
Second lowest implied team total on this slate.
Nice
at 18, or they're down there pretty low.
So, all right, brother.
So, yeah.
Anything else out of you?
No, I think that about does it. We're starting to get into this latter third of the season here. We'll see what see if the NFL can keep the train on the tracks here. It's starting to get a little wobbly. I want no more Wednesday football game. I love football, but I don't want a Wednesday afternoon game. Okay,
so I don't mind it being a Wednesday afternoon. It was weird. It threw the whole week off. What I think it was really the matchup that just made that so bad. I mean, it was bad. Number one, Pittsburgh always plays to the level of their opponent, and you had extra time to prepare. You ended up started going against a second string quarterback. You ended up against a third string quarterback. You were on to the third string running back, and that was the product you put on the field. Like, you should be ashamed of yourself. You and all of your Steeler fans need to chill out with the patting yourself on the back because you've played some garbage teams and have barely made it to this point. Ravens, I'll give you credit for fighting as hard as you did in that game. It just goes to show you how good that division rivalry is. I don't really care about the Wednesday football. I just hope if it happens again, it's two teams that can put on a better show than that.
Well, don't do it in the middle of the afternoon while I'm at work, damn it.
Well, they're not going to be another Rockefeller tree lighting either.
I don't know. There'll be something. It'll be the Rudolph special or something.
Which would have been more entertaining. Just saying.
No, it's like I said, I love football, but I want to get back on. I think it screws up too much other things in the whole ether of the NFL. Now we're gonna have a Tuesday game, and all these reschedules. It's messing up the slates. It's messing up our waivers. It's all kinds of problematics.
Would you prefer no season?
No, I'm not saying that.
All
just,
right.
I think the real answer was the NFL should have postponed the game, bit the bullet, added week 18, expanded the playoffs. I don't love the message from the NFL when they're going to make Denver play on Sunday with no active quarterbacks.
Yes.
And then they're going to reschedule this game 3 different times. It's bullshit.
That was my bigger issue than the Wednesday football game. Like, that's what you did. My bigger issue was that
week after it was supposed to.
So anyway, my bigger issue is that you made a team play a game without the most important position, and I feel like because it's Saints, it's Taysom Hill, it's Alvin Kamara, it's Michael Thomas, it's money guys. Had this game, this Pittsburgh-Baltimore game, been like a Jacksonville, like, I don't know, pick a garbage team, Detroit game, would they have really tried that hard? Because it wouldn't have sold that well. So, like, either you're about player safety or you're not. Like, make up your mind. And I think it's been shown repeatedly that they're not.
They're about the bottom line.
So the inconsistency was bad for me. I think Broncos made that decision to play right. I don't think they had a choice in the matter, honestly. I think they were told, hey, you're playing. So, I mean, the only choice they might have had is if they waited, 5 days to get all their people cleared. But either way, it's a bad message. Like, we want people to be safe. This thing has a, what's the gestation period or the incubation period for this virus? It's like
10 days.
10 days or something like that. So, are we really saying that, okay, well, if we postpone 3 days, that's going to do it? Like, that doesn't do it for me, but
yeah.
I digress. This will get way off football topic for me. Prince of the Burbs, man, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. We're just getting ready to wrap up here. Real quick, 2 little notes. I will likely be streaming some Warzone after this. Justin, are you gonna play?
I'll probably have on for a short bit.
Okay, so maybe playing a little bit of games tonight. I am participating in a random duos Warzone tournament tomorrow. It's 3 games and a mini royale map. I suspect I will be dead very quickly in all 3 of those games, but I do anticipate streaming tomorrow 12 noon. That is Central Standard Time. So feel free to stop on by, and I promise it'll be a short session of laughter. So other than that, I don't have anything else. At Justin M. West on the Twitter and other things and other places. You can go to his Twitter and I'm sure find those. At JD West 22 across all of them. At Another Bad Call, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Hit us up. Until next week, hopefully you're not making as many bad calls as I did. Everybody have a good one.
Peace out.
Deciding who wins the game on this call. Under review. The call on the field stands. Touchdown.
After review, it has been determined that the receiver did not maintain possession.
Quarterback's arm was going forward, and in the
Oh, man, on a
That's the worst call in the history of all sports.